The Queensland Flood Inquiry began public hearings in Brisbane this week. The focus was the operation of Wivenhoe Dam in the period leading up to the devastating deluge. Reporter Francene Norton is following proceedings. Francene, quite technical evidence this week. Are we closer to understanding the extent to which water releases from the dam contributed to the flood in Ipswich and Brisbane?
Well, Jessica, the releases from the dam certainly played a part in the flooding, yes, but it's not as simple as should have the engineers open the floodgates earlier or later. All of the engineers who've given evidence this week have consistently defended the strategy they used back in January when Wivenhoe Dam reached its peak flood alert level called W4. To the engineers, it's a delicate balancing act between protecting the dam wall structure and protecting downstream urban areas, and there are always going to be winners and losers in it. What they don't do is rely on rain forecasts because they're too unreliable. But the engineers who've testified this week really do believe that without the existence of Wivenhoe Dam, then Brisbane and Ipswich really would have had a catastrophe on their hands back in January. They believe that Wivenhoe did provide substantial flood mitigation.
Are the hearings progressing as quickly as the Commission had hoped?
Well, Jessica, it has been a slow start to the week. There were about 13 witnesses scheduled to give evidence this week, and by day 3 there'd only been 2 called before the court. And there are about 10 legal teams representing all of the various interest groups like the councils and the state government, as well as the Bureau of Meteorology and SEQ Water and various residential groups. Plus there's about 6 million pages of material that they've got to go through, so it's a lengthy process. But things are starting to speed up and they're starting to get through more witnesses. So hearings are scheduled up until the end of May, and up until then the focus really is on all of those urgent issues that they really need to address in the interim report, which is due in August. And then in the second half of the year, the focus will really switch to those longer term issues like land development and insurance.
So who are we likely to hear from next week?
Well, Jessica, the focus really shifts next week. The Commission is heading to Toowoomba and Dalby. Now, Dalby was affected by about 5 flood events over December and January, and Toowoomba experienced that flash flooding that killed 2 people. Now, Toowoomba and the Lockyer Valley are really going to be given special attention at this inquiry. The council assisting the Commission, Peter Callaghan, said earlier this week that Toowoomba and the Lockyer Valley experienced a completely separate tragedy that was simply off the scale. So next week we're going to start hearing evidence from police and emergency services, as well as the Mayor of Toowoomba, and we'll also hear evidence from people who were caught up in the flooding. So Jessica, next week we should start to hear some emotionally charged evidence.
Francene Norton, thank you.